In the autumn of 1829, amidst the ceaseless bustle of Paris, a remarkable and unprecedented surgical endeavor unfolded within the walls of the Hôtel Dieu, the city's venerable hospital. It was a time when the air of the French capital brimmed with revolutionary ideas, not only in politics and art, but also in the realms of science and medicine. The Industrial Revolution hummed relentlessly outside, its mechanical marvels inspiring both awe and trepidation, while within these ancient halls, a single man dared to challenge the very limits of human physiology. Dr. Etienne Moreau, a surgeon regarded with a mixture of admiration and skepticism among his peers, stood at the forefront of this daring venture. His name, though not yet widely known beyond certain medical circles, was destined to become entwined with the annals of medical history through an experiment that blurred the boundaries between man and machine. Moreau was not merely a practitioner of surgery. He was an innovator driven by a restless intellect and an unyielding desire to transcend the frailties of the human body. Before we continue, make sure to like and subscribe to never miss a new video. And tell me, where are you watching this video from? I love seeing all different people come together for these stories. The meticulous records he maintained, the extensive surgical notes, personal journals, and detailed observations offer a rare glimpse into the mind of a man grappling with both scientific possibility and mortal peril. These documents, preserved through the efforts of his medical team and later examined by historians, recount the unfolding of an experiment that would forever alter the trajectory of medical science. Paris, in 1829, was a city at the crossroads of tradition and transformation. The echoes of revolution still lingered in its cobblestone streets, while gas lamps flickered against the encroaching night, symbolizing the flickering hope of progress. The Hôtel Dieu, perched along the Ile de la Cité, was a place where the old world met the new, the birthplace of medical advancements and the crucible of human suffering. It was here, amidst the clatter of surgical instruments and the quiet prayers of patients, that Moreau resolved to embark on a venture unprecedented in the history of surgery, to replace his failing heart with a mechanical device, an invention of his own design, inspired by the ceaseless work of the steam engine's reshaping industry. The atmosphere was charged with a palpable tension. Parisian society, ever hungry for the latest marvels, buzzed with rumors and fragmented reports of the surgeon who sought to fuse flesh and machinery. The scientific community, divided between cautious optimism and wary skepticism, awaited the outcome with a mixture of fascination and dread. The age of mechanization had arrived, yet to apply these principles to the human body was to tread into uncharted and potentially perilous territory. Dr. Moreau's surgical team, a select group of colleagues and apprentices, bore witness to the inception of this bold experiment. Their accounts reveal a man driven not only by scientific curiosity, but also by personal desperation. Moreau suffered from a debilitating heart condition that had gradually eroded his vitality and threatened his life. Conventional remedies offered little hope. Thus, inspired by the mechanical ingenuity flourishing around him, he conceived a radical solution, a steam-powered pump that could replicate the heart's vital function. The design of this device was itself a marvel, a compact, intricate contraption fashioned from brass and steel, carefully engineered to sustain the pulsation of life within the confines of the human chest cavity. Moreau's journals describe painstaking hours spent in workshops, collaborating with mechanists and blacksmiths, refining the device until it achieved a rhythmic precision that mimicked the natural heartbeat. This was no mere theoretical exercise. It was a tangible embodiment of the Industrial Revolution's promise to harness and redirect the forces of nature. As autumn deepened and the days grew shorter, the moment approached when Moreau would undertake the most perilous operation of his career. The surgeon's own body was the subject, a fact that lent the endeavor a profound personal gravity. The surgical notes detail the preparations with clinical exactitude, the sterilization of instruments, the assembly of assistants, and the careful mapping of anatomical landmarks. Yet beneath the procedural facade lay a current of unease, for the procedure was unprecedented, its risks incalculable. The hospital itself seemed to hold its breath. In the dim light of October evenings, whispers circulated among the staff, stories of a man who would replace his heart with a machine, who would challenge the natural order in pursuit of a new form of life. The city's newspapers, though cautious, began to hint at the unfolding drama within the Hôtel Dieu, capturing the public imagination with tales that straddled the line between scientific breakthrough and Gothic horror. Moreau's journals reveal a mind oscillating between hope and apprehension. He wrote candidly of his motivations, the desperation that drove him to risk everything, and the conviction that his experiment might herald a new era in medicine. There was also an undercurrent of philosophical reflection, as he pondered the nature of life itself, and the possibility of a mechanical heart sustaining not merely a body, but a soul. The team that would assist in the operation was carefully chosen, seasoned surgeons and nurses, each aware of the gravity of the undertaking. Their eyewitness accounts, later recorded in letters and official reports, describe the solemn atmosphere in the operating theater, the meticulous choreography of the procedure, and the unprecedented sight of a mechanical device set to pulse within a living chest. This introduction to the experiment sets the stage for a narrative that intertwines human ingenuity, the quest for survival, and the profound ethical questions posed by merging man with machine. The autumn of 1829 in Paris thus marks not only a moment of medical daring, but a symbolic convergence of the mechanical age with the fragile human heart, a prelude to the transformations that would echo through centuries to come. Dr. Etienne Moreau's journey toward the audacious experiment in 1829 was not born overnight. It was the culmination of years, marked by a gradual decline in health and an escalating obsession with the mechanical wonders reshaping the world around him. His personal battle with a severe heart condition cast a shadow over his life, one that seeped into every corner of his existence, fueling a desperation that would ultimately drive him beyond the accepted boundaries of medical practice. Moreau's journals, penned with a candidness rarely found among his contemporaries, chronicle the slow erosion of his vitality. At first, the symptoms were subtle: shortness of breath during the long hours in the surgical theater, bouts of dizziness that forced him to pause amid his work. Yet, as months turned to years, the condition worsened, transforming from a manageable ailment to a relentless adversary. The once vigorous surgeon found himself increasingly confined by the frailty of his own body, each heartbeat a painful reminder of his mortality. The medical treatments of the era offered scant relief. The knowledge of cardiology was rudimentary, and remedies often amounted to little more than palliative care. Moreau, well aware of his limited options, refused to succumb passively. Instead, his mind turned toward the burgeoning innovations of the Industrial Revolution, a force sweeping across France and the wider world with machines that promised to reshape society. Steam engines, mechanical looms, and intricate clockworks fascinated him, not merely as technological curiosities, but as potential keys to overcoming human physical limitations. This fascination deepened into a compelling vision. Moreau imagined a device that could replicate the heart's ceaseless labor, a mechanical organ capable of sustaining life where biology faltered. The notion was as terrifying as it was exhilarating, challenging prevailing understandings of nature and humanity. His writings reveal an acute awareness of the risks involved, yet also a resolute belief that such innovation was necessary, perhaps inevitable. Before contemplating its implantation in his own body, Moreau conducted a series of preliminary experiments on animals, a practice common among surgeons seeking to validate new techniques. These trials, documented in meticulous detail, demonstrated that his steam-powered pump could indeed mimic the rhythmic contractions of a heart, circulating blood with surprising efficiency. Yet the experiments also underscored the difficulties inherent in integrating mechanical devices with living tissue. Issues of infection, rejection, and mechanical failure loomed large. Despite these challenges, Moreau's conviction grew. The prospect of abandoning his own life to the frailties of a failing heart became increasingly unbearable. His journals from this period convey a man teetering on the edge of hope and despair, caught between the desire to survive and the fear of becoming a mere machine himself. The decision to become both surgeon and subject emerged not from hubris alone, but from a profound necessity, a willingness to embrace the unknown in pursuit of life. Moreau's engagement with the mechanics of the device was intensely personal. He collaborated closely with skilled mechanists and artisans, drawing upon the expertise of blacksmiths and clockmakers to fashion the delicate components necessary for the pump's operation. The design was intricate. A brass and steel apparatus powered by a miniature steam engine, engineered to fit within the limited confines of the thoracic cavity, yet robust enough to sustain continuous function. The surgeon's technical diagrams, preserved in his journals, reveal an almost obsessive attention to detail, reflecting his desire for perfection amid uncertainty. The conceptual leap from external machinery to internal organ was monumental. In an era when the boundaries between man and machine were rigidly defined, Moreau's vision challenged not only medical science, but also philosophical and ethical norms. His writings expose a mind wrestling with these tensions, the hope that technology might extend life and enhance the human experience, balanced against fears of dehumanization and loss of identity. His decision to proceed with self-experimentation was informed by this complex interplay of factors. Moreau recognized that entrusting another with the operation, removing his own heart and replacing it with a mechanical device, was fraught with practical and ethical complications. By becoming his own patient, he could exert direct control over the procedure and bear full responsibility for its outcome. This choice, radical in its implications, underscored the depth of his commitment and the profound risks he was prepared to face. Colleagues who observed Moreau during this period noted a transformation in his demeanor. The physical toll of his illness was evident, yet there was a newfound intensity in his gaze, a fixation on the mechanical heart that consumed much of his waking thought. Conversations with peers reveal a man increasingly withdrawn, absorbed in the technical challenges and philosophical questions his project posed. Yet, despite concerns voiced by some contemporaries about the dangers of such singular focus, no one could deny the surgeon's brilliance and determination. The social and scientific milieu of Paris in the late 1820s provided both a backdrop and a catalyst for Moreau's endeavor. The city was a nexus of intellectual ferment, where the boundaries of science were being pushed by figures like François Arago and Jean-Baptiste Dumas. The spirit of innovation permeated the salons and laboratories, encouraging bold experiments that blended disciplines and challenged orthodoxy. Moreau's work, situated at the intersection of medicine, mechanics, and philosophy, embodied this zeitgeist. Yet the broader medical community remained divided. While some viewed Moreau's pursuit as visionary, an essential step toward overcoming the limitations imposed by nature, others regarded it as reckless, a dangerous flirtation with forces beyond human control. Debates in scientific circles and medical societies reflected this tension, with arguments hinging on the ethics of self-experimentation, the sanctity of the human body, and the potential consequences of mechanizing life. Amid this contentious atmosphere, Moreau pressed forward. His personal writings reveal moments of doubt, tempered by resolve, as well as a persistent hope that his experiment might pave the way for future advancements. He expressed a desire not only to save his own life, but also to contribute to a broader understanding of the human body and its potential integration with technology. As autumn deepened, the mechanical heart took shape, an emblem of Moreau's ingenuity and desperation. The device was a testament to the merging of two worlds, the organic and the mechanical, the living and the engineered. It was a tangible manifestation of the Industrial Revolution's promise and peril, encapsulating humanity's eternal struggle to master nature and transcend its own limitations. In this crucible of personal affliction and scientific aspiration, Dr. Etienne Moreau prepared to undertake a surgery unlike any before it. His declining health, his fascination with mechanical innovation, and his unwavering resolve converged to set the stage for a momentous act, one that would challenge contemporary medical knowledge and ignite debates that would resonate far beyond the operating theater. The story of Moreau's mechanical heart was no longer merely a matter of technology or medicine. It was a profound exploration of what it meant to be human in an age of machines. On the morning of October 3rd, 1829, the Hôtel Dieu was shrouded in an unusual stillness, as if the city itself recognized the gravity of what was about to unfold within its ancient walls. The autumn light filtered weakly through the high, narrow windows of the operating theater, casting long shadows over the assembled surgical team. There, Dr. Etienne Moreau prepared to undertake a procedure that would challenge the very foundations of medical science, the removal of his own failing heart and the implantation of a mechanical device designed to replicate its function. The atmosphere was charged with a tension born not only of the technical difficulties, but also of the profound uncertainty surrounding the experiment's outcome. Moreau's colleagues, seasoned surgeons, nurses, and assistants, moved with a mixture of solemn reverence and anxious anticipation. Each member of the team was acutely aware of the stakes. The operation was unprecedented, and its success or failure would echo far beyond the confines of the hospital. Moreau himself approached the table with a steady resolve that belied the turmoil within. His journals from that day describe a mind sharpened by years of preparation, a body weakened by illness but sustained by willpower, and a spirit caught between hope and the abyss. He had elected to perform the surgery under the closest possible supervision, enlisting trusted colleagues to assist and document every step. The surgical notes reveal the painstaking precision with which the team proceeded. After the administration of a rudimentary anesthetic, an opiate mixture common for the time but far from the sophisticated agents of later eras, the operation commenced. The initial incision exposed the chest cavity, revealing the diseased heart whose faltering beats had so long threatened Moreau's life. With steady hands, the surgeon began the delicate extraction of the organ. The team watched in awe and apprehension as Moreau severed the arteries and veins, carefully controlling bleeding with ligatures and cauterization. The heart, swollen and scarred from years of strain, was removed with a mixture of reverence and clinical detachment. This moment, more than any other, signified the rupture between nature and technology. Next came the implantation of the mechanical pump, a compact brass and steel device powered by a miniature steam engine, meticulously designed to fit within the confines of the thoracic cavity. The surgical notes describe the team's astonishment as they positioned the device, connecting its inflow and outflow tubes to the major blood vessels. The pump's rhythmic motions were visible through the translucent tubing, a mechanical heartbeat set to replace the organic pulse. Witnesses later recounted the surreal spectacle of the device beginning to function inside a living man. The faint hiss of steam and the steady clicking of gears echoed softly, a stark contrast to the labored breaths of the patient. The surgical team exchanged glances, half wonder, half disbelief, as the machine took over the vital task of circulating blood. The immediate post-operative period was critical. Moreau's own notes chronicle the sensations he experienced upon awakening: a strange awareness of the mechanical organ's presence, a humming vibration coursing through his chest, and an altered perception of his own body. He described a curious detachment, as if part of him belonged to the machine now sustaining his life. Yet the success of the surgery was tempered by early complications. The steam engine's heat presented challenges in maintaining a safe temperature within the body, and the risk of infection loomed large in an era before antiseptic techniques were widely adopted. Moreau's surgical team vigilantly monitored for signs of inflammation and rejection, documenting each symptom with clinical rigor. The operation sparked immediate debate within the hospital's corridors and beyond. Medical practitioners were torn between admiration for the surgeon's courage and skepticism about the wisdom of such an extreme intervention. Some viewed the mechanical heart as a marvel of ingenuity, a potential breakthrough in treating cardiac disease. Others feared the consequences of introducing machinery into the sanctity of the human body, warning of unforeseen physiological and psychological effects. Moreau himself grappled with these tensions in his journals, reflecting on the nature of life sustained by metal and steam. He pondered whether his existence had been irrevocably altered, questioning the boundaries between human and machine, organic and artificial. His writings reveal both exhilaration at the device's success and an undercurrent of unease about his transformed state. Throughout the ensuing days, the surgical team observed Moreau closely. Reports detail his improved stamina compared to previous months, noting his ability to engage in physical activity with less fatigue. Yet alongside these gains were troubling signs: episodes of discomfort near the implantation site, irregularities in the pump's operation, and moments of disorientation that hinted at the psychological toll of such a radical transformation. Public reaction was swift and varied. Word of the mechanical heart surgery spread through Parisian salons, cafes, and newspapers, igniting discussions that transcended medicine to touch upon philosophy, ethics, and the future of humanity. Some hailed Moreau as a visionary, a pioneer daring to rewrite the laws of nature. Others cast him as a cautionary figure, a man who had overstepped the bounds of mortal prudence. Within scientific circles, the operation was dissected with meticulous scrutiny. Scholars and physicians debated the feasibility of mechanical organs, the challenges of biocompatibility, and the implications for patient identity. The surgery became a focal point for emerging questions about the integration of technology with human biology, a discourse that would grow increasingly urgent as the Industrial Revolution advanced. Despite the controversies and complications, Moreau's surgical notes convey a profound sense of purpose. He chronicled each day with detailed observations, from the mechanical heart's steady rhythm to his own evolving sensations and moods. His writings suggest a man acutely aware of the precarious balance between triumph and tragedy, committed to documenting the unfolding consequences of his experiment for posterity. The operation on October 3rd stands as a landmark moment, not only for its technical daring, but for its symbolic resonance. It embodied the audacity of human innovation and the willingness to confront mortality through invention. Moreau's mechanical heart was more than a device. It was a statement of defiance against the limits imposed by nature, and a testament to the restless spirit of an age poised between tradition and transformation. As the surgical team continued their vigilant care, the story of this groundbreaking procedure began to weave itself into the fabric of Parisian medical lore. The interplay of hope and fear, of scientific ambition and ethical uncertainty, set the stage for the complex aftermath that would follow. A saga of recovery, complication, and reflection that would challenge assumptions about life, identity, and the possible fusion of man and machine. In the days and weeks that followed the groundbreaking surgery, Dr. Etienne Moreau's condition initially seemed to defy expectations. Against the backdrop of early 19th century medicine, still grappling with rudimentary understandings of infection and physiology, his recovery was nothing short of miraculous. Moreau demonstrated a renewed vigor, engaging in physical activity with an endurance that had eluded him for years. Observers noted that tasks once exhausting now appeared manageable, as if the mechanical heart had breathed new life into his failing body. Yet this apparent triumph was shadowed by a series of perplexing and unsettling physical symptoms. Moreau's journals, filled with candid reflections, describe sensations unfamiliar and disconcerting. A persistent warmth emanating from his chest, intermittent mechanical vibrations that seemed to resonate beyond the confines of his body, and episodes of inexplicable fatigue that punctuated his periods of vitality. These symptoms baffled his medical team, who struggled to reconcile the benefits of the mechanical device with the unforeseen complications it introduced. The medical community's reaction to Moreau's condition was a complex amalgam of skepticism, fascination, and unease. Parisian physicians and surgeons, many steeped in traditional practices, found themselves confronted with a phenomenon that challenged established paradigms. Debates erupted in scientific salons and medical societies, where factions argued over the legitimacy and safety of integrating mechanical devices within living bodies. Some hailed Moreau as a pioneer, a harbinger of a new era in medicine. Others dismissed him as a reckless experimenter, endangering not only himself, but the integrity of the medical profession. Public sentiment mirrored this ambivalence. Rumors circulated through the winding streets and bustling cafes of Paris, painting Dr. Moreau as the mechanical heart doctor, a figure both enigmatic and emblematic of the era's technological fervor. The press, eager to capture the imagination of their readers, spun tales that blended scientific fact with speculative fiction. Some narratives celebrated the triumph of human ingenuity over mortal frailty, while others warned of a man who had surrendered his humanity to cold machinery. Within this charged atmosphere, Moreau remained remarkably engaged with his own condition. His personal writings reveal an introspective man grappling with the profound changes wrought by the mechanical organ. He described a heightened awareness of the device's presence, a constant, rhythmic hum that was both reassuring and alienating. Moreau noted shifts in his sensory perceptions, including an acute sensitivity to mechanical sounds, and a peculiar detachment from emotional stimuli that once stirred him deeply. These altered sensations sparked introspective musings on the nature of life and identity. Moreau pondered whether the mechanical heart had altered not just his physiology, but the very essence of his being. His reflections touched upon philosophical questions that transcended medicine. What did it mean to be human when the core of one's vitality was no longer organic? Could the integration of machine and flesh redefine the boundaries of consciousness and selfhood? Despite the challenges, Moreau's surgical team maintained vigilant care, documenting his progress with clinical rigor. They recorded fluctuations in his vital signs, episodes of discomfort near the implantation site, and the occasional mechanical irregularity that necessitated adjustments to the device. The risk of infection remained a persistent threat, particularly in an era prior to widespread adoption of antiseptic techniques. The team's observations underscored the precarious balance between innovation and the limitations of contemporary medical knowledge. These complexities fueled ongoing discourse within the medical establishment. Philosophers and physicians debated the ethical implications of Moreau's experiment, questioning the morality of altering the human body with machinery. Concerns were raised about the potential psychological impacts on patients who might undergo similar procedures, as well as the broader societal consequences of blurring the line between human and machine. Government officials, alerted by the growing public interest and medical controversy, began to scrutinize such experimental surgeries. Discussions emerged regarding the need for regulatory oversight to prevent unregulated procedures that could endanger lives or disrupt social order. While no formal restrictions were immediately imposed, the climate of cautious observation signaled that Moreau's work was entering a fraught territory where science, ethics, and politics intersected. Throughout this tumultuous period, Moreau's own writings convey a man caught between hope and isolation. He chronicled moments of exhilaration when the mechanical heart seemed to grant him reprieve from his ailment, alongside episodes of despair as he confronted the alien nature of his new existence. Correspondence with trusted colleagues reveals his desire to share knowledge and advance the field, tempered by an acute awareness of the risks and uncertainties that accompanied his path. The paradox of Moreau's condition, enhanced physical capability coupled with emerging psychological and physiological challenges, became emblematic of the broader tensions surrounding the integration of technology and biology. His experience raised fundamental questions about the possibilities and perils of human enhancement, foreshadowing debates that would intensify in the centuries to follow. As news of Moreau's experiment permeated Parisian society, it stimulated a wider fascination with the potential of mechanical augmentation. Inventors and surgeons across Europe took note, inspired by the audacity of the mechanical heart and the promise it held for combating disease and prolonging life. Yet the cautionary tales of complications and ethical dilemmas tempered this enthusiasm, underscoring the need for careful exploration and responsible innovation. Within the walls of the Hôtel Dieu, the shadow of Moreau's mechanical heart experiment loomed large, influencing not only medical practice, but also cultural perceptions of the human body. The surgery became a touchstone for discussions about mortality, technology, and the essence of life itself. Moreau's altered sensations and the public's mixed reactions underscored the profound impact of this pioneering endeavor. In the salons of Paris, where science and philosophy intertwined, Moreau's story provoked reflections on the future trajectory of medicine. The mechanical heart was seen as both a marvel and a warning, a symbol of human creativity's boundless reach and the ethical quandaries that innovation inevitably engenders. The surgery ignited imaginations and anxieties alike, marking a pivotal moment when the mechanical and the organic began an uneasy dialogue within the human form. While Moreau's recovery was marked by both progress and complication, his experiment sparked an enduring conversation that extended beyond the immediate medical sphere. It challenged assumptions about the limits of life and the role of technology in shaping human destiny. The public's fascination, the medical community's debates, and the government's cautious scrutiny together wove a complex tapestry around the mechanical heart, reflecting the hopes and fears of an age poised on the cusp of modernity. Through it all, Moreau remained a figure of intense scrutiny and quiet determination. His writings, filled with both scientific observation and personal reflection, offer an intimate portrait of a man navigating the uncharted terrain of human-machine integration. The initial aftermath of his surgery was not simply a medical episode, but a profound exploration of what it meant to live and to survive in a world transformed by mechanization. As the months unfolded following Dr. Etienne Moreau's unprecedented surgery, the initial optimism surrounding the mechanical heart's promise began to wane under the weight of emerging complications. The early vigor that Moreau displayed gave way to a series of medical setbacks that tested both his resilience and the resolve of his surgical team. These challenges not only threatened his survival, but also ignited fierce debates across the medical and philosophical communities about the ethical boundaries of human-machine integration. The surgical records and Moreau's own detailed journals chronicle a mounting litany of physical difficulties. Infections, an ever-present menace in the pre-antiseptic era, became persistent obstacles. The site of implantation, despite meticulous care, was vulnerable to inflammation and abscess formation, complicating Moreau's recovery and demanding repeated interventions. The mechanical components themselves were not immune to failure. The steam-powered pump, while ingenious, was prone to malfunctions. Pressure irregularities, occasional mechanical jams, and the constant need for maintenance introduced a precarious fragility to the apparatus sustaining his life. Compounding these physical challenges were profound psychological effects. Moreau's writings reveal a deepening sense of alienation from his own body. The mechanical heart, once a symbol of hope, increasingly became a source of psychological torment. He described episodes marked by emotional numbness, a detachment that left him questioning the very nature of his humanity. His altered heartbeat, no longer organic but mechanical, seemed to echo a transformation not only of flesh, but of identity itself. These personal struggles were mirrored by a growing chorus of voices within the medical community. Physicians and surgeons debated Moreau's case with a mixture of fascination and apprehension. The novelty of the mechanical heart raised pressing ethical questions. Was it permissible to so radically alter the human body in pursuit of prolonged life? Did such interventions risk undermining the sanctity of the natural self? The concept of self-experimentation, already controversial, now faced scrutiny regarding its broader implications for medical practice and patient welfare. Philosophers and ethicists entered the discourse, engaging in heated discussions about the limits of scientific intervention. The integration of machine and man challenged prevailing notions of the human condition. Some argued that Moreau's experiment represented an overreach, a hubristic attempt to transcend natural law with potentially dehumanizing consequences. Others viewed it as a vital step toward understanding and potentially overcoming the vulnerabilities inherent in the human form. The French government, attentive to the rising public interest and scientific controversy, began to weigh the implications of Moreau's work. While no immediate legal prohibitions were enacted, the authorities initiated inquiries into experimental surgical practices, signaling the advent of regulatory oversight. These measures reflected concerns about public safety, ethical standards, and the potential societal impact of radical medical innovations. Within the Hôtel Dieu, Moreau's condition became a focal point of intense observation and debate. His surgical team grappled with the dual imperatives of preserving his life and managing the complications introduced by the mechanical device. Adjustments to the pump were undertaken in attempts to improve its function and reduce physiological stress. Yet each intervention carried risks, underscoring the fragile balance between technological advancement and biological compatibility. Amid these medical and ethical dilemmas, Moreau's personal reflections convey a profound internal conflict. He lamented the loss of emotional responsiveness, the coldness that crept into his interactions with colleagues and loved ones. The mechanical rhythm that sustained his body seemed to reverberate through his psyche, blurring the boundaries between man and machine. Letters exchanged with close confidants reveal moments of despair, interlaced with a steadfast commitment to advancing medical knowledge, even at great personal cost. Reports from contemporaries describe Moreau's gradual withdrawal from social life, his days increasingly consumed by the maintenance of his mechanical heart and the pursuit of its perfection. The surgeon's once vigorous engagement with the scientific community gave way to solitary contemplation and laborious experimentation. Rumors circulated within Parisian circles, whispers of a man whose heartbeat was both a marvel and a curse, whose very existence challenged the conventions of nature and society. These developments fueled public fascination and fear alike. Newspapers and pamphlets speculated on the consequences of Moreau's transformation, oscillating between admiration for his courage and anxiety over the potential loss of humanity. The figure of the mechanical heart man became a symbol in broader cultural debates about the rise of technology and its place within human life. At the intersection of medicine, philosophy, and public discourse, Moreau's experiment highlighted the nascent challenges of human enhancement, issues that would persist and evolve with subsequent technological advances. The questions raised by his surgery about identity, ethics, and the limits of scientific intervention resonated far beyond his personal experience, influencing the trajectory of medical thought and practice. In the face of mounting difficulties, Moreau's determination to refine his mechanical heart remained undiminished. His journals describe ongoing collaborations with mechanists and inventors, efforts to improve the device's reliability and biocompatibility. These endeavors reflected a visionary pursuit of integrating technology and biology, despite the personal toll exacted by such relentless experimentation. The ethical debates surrounding Moreau's surgery also prompted medical institutions to reconsider protocols and standards for experimental procedures. Discussions emphasized the necessity of informed consent, risk assessment, and the establishment of oversight mechanisms to balance innovation with patient safety. These early considerations foreshadowed the complex regulatory frameworks that would later govern biomedical research. As Moreau navigated the fraught terrain of his transformation, his experience became a touchstone for broader societal reflections on the relationship between man and machine. His journey underscored the paradox of technological progress, the promise of extended life and enhanced function, entwined with the hazards of physical and psychological disruption. The evolving narrative of Moreau's mechanical heart experiment thus encapsulated a pivotal moment in the history of medicine, a moment when human ingenuity confronted the profound mysteries of life and identity. His struggles illuminated the delicate interplay between aspiration and limitation, innovation and ethics, underscoring that the pursuit of healing and enhancement is as much a moral endeavor as a scientific one. Within this complex landscape, Dr. Etienne Moreau stood as both pioneer and cautionary figure, his legacy entwined with the enduring questions his work provoked. The emerging complications and debates during this phase of his journey set the stage for the profound transformations and challenges that would define the next chapters of his extraordinary experiment. In the months that followed the mounting complications of his mechanical heart experiment, Dr. Etienne Moreau's physical condition paradoxically exhibited signs of remarkable improvement, even as his emotional and psychological states deteriorated. Observers within the Hôtel Dieu noted a man whose stamina and physical capabilities had been restored to levels unattainable before the surgery. Yet his demeanor grew increasingly cold and mechanical, mirroring the very device that sustained his life. Moreau's colleagues documented his enhanced vitality with a mixture of awe and unease. Reports detailed his ability to endure prolonged physical exertion without the debilitating fatigue that had once plagued him. His pulse, now regulated by the rhythmic churning of the steam-powered pump, beat with an unyielding consistency that defied natural biological variance. The mechanical heart's unwavering cadence seemed to grant him a new lease on life, a testament to the ingenuity of blending man with machine. Yet beneath this physical renaissance lay a profound transformation of Moreau's emotional landscape. Those who interacted with him described a man increasingly detached, his responses muted and devoid of the warmth or spontaneity that had once defined his character. The surgeon who had once engaged passionately in discourse now spoke in measured tones, his expressions often inscrutable. Colleagues remarked on a peculiar mechanical sound, faint but perceptible, emanating from his chest, a constant reminder of the device within. This withdrawal from human connection extended beyond mere demeanor. Moreau became consumed by an obsessive quest to perfect his mechanical organ. His days were filled with meticulous adjustments and experiments aimed at refining the pump's efficiency and reliability. Correspondence from acquaintances painted a picture of isolation, a man ensnared by his creation, driven by the belief that mastery over the mechanical heart was essential not only for his survival, but for the advancement of medical science. The psychological toll of this obsession was profound. Moreau exhibited signs of emotional blunting, a condition contemporaries likened to a form of mechanization of the soul. His journals, once rich with philosophical contemplation, grew sparse and clinical, reflecting a mind increasingly dominated by technical concerns and estranged from the vibrancy of human experience. Friends lamented the loss of the man they had known, replaced by a figure who seemed half human, half machine. Rumors began to circulate within Parisian medical and social circles about the surgeon's altered state. Whispers spoke of the mechanical heart man, a spectral figure whose heartbeat was accompanied by the faint clanking of gears. Tales emerged of Moreau wandering the hospital corridors late at night, his presence marked by the eerie sound of his internal apparatus. These stories, blending fact and folklore, contributed to an aura of mystery and unease surrounding his person. Moreau's increasing isolation was compounded by growing tensions within the medical community. Some colleagues expressed concern over his withdrawal and the possible psychological consequences of his experiment. Debates ensued regarding the responsibility of physicians to safeguard not only the physical, but also the mental well-being of patients, especially when experimental technologies were involved. Moreau's case became emblematic of the unintended costs of pioneering medical innovation. By late 1830, reports indicated that Moreau had effectively vanished from the public eye and medical circles. His withdrawal was both physical and social, as he retreated from Parisian society to focus exclusively on his work. Letters from former associates ceased, and the Hôtel Dieu no longer listed him among active practitioners. The circumstances of his disappearance were shrouded in ambiguity, fueling speculation and further mythologizing of his figure. The mystery surrounding Moreau's fate added another layer to the narrative of his mechanical heart. Some suggested that he had succumbed to the very complications he had sought to overcome, while others posited that he had chosen a self-imposed exile to continue his experiments in secrecy. The mechanical heartbeat, once a symbol of hope and human ingenuity, had become an enigmatic signature of a man lost between worlds. The legacy of Moreau's transformation extended beyond his personal story. His physical and emotional metamorphosis raised profound questions about the integration of technology and humanity. The surgeon's experience foreshadowed enduring concerns about the costs of augmenting human biology with mechanical devices, how such interventions might enhance function, yet diminish the essence of personhood. Medical practitioners and philosophers alike grappled with these dilemmas, using Moreau's case as a cautionary exemplar. Discussions revolved around the balance between physical enhancement and psychological integrity, the ethical boundaries of experimental surgery, and the societal implications of blurring the lines between man and machine. These debates would resonate through subsequent decades, shaping the evolving discourse on biomedical innovation. Moreau's disappearance did not mark the end of his influence. His notes and journals, preserved by a select group of scientists, became treasured artifacts within a clandestine circle dedicated to advancing the fusion of organic and mechanical systems. This secretive cohort sought to build upon Moreau's pioneering work, driven by the conviction that the future of medicine lay in transcending purely biological limitations. The figure of Etienne Moreau, once a celebrated surgeon, then a man transformed and ultimately lost to his own creation, became emblematic of the promises and perils inherent in the pursuit of human enhancement. His journey illustrated the potential for extraordinary physical renewal alongside the risk of profound psychological alienation. In the quiet corners of Paris, stories persisted of a shadowy figure whose heartbeat echoed the ticking of machinery, a haunting reminder of the surgeon who dared to replace his failing heart with a mechanical one. These tales, woven into the fabric of urban legend, reflected a collective ambivalence toward the merging of man and machine, simultaneously fascinated by and fearful of what such a union might entail. Moreau's transformation, withdrawal, and eventual disappearance underscored the complex human dimensions of technological innovation. His life became a testament to the intricate interplay between scientific ambition, personal sacrifice, and the enduring quest to redefine the boundaries of human existence. The shadow cast by Dr. Etienne Moreau's daring experiment extended far beyond his personal trials and eventual disappearance, permeating the broader medical community and inspiring a new generation of surgeons and inventors who saw in his work both a challenge and a beacon. Despite the controversies and tragic elements that surrounded his mechanical heart, Moreau's legacy became a catalyst for early advances in artificial organ development and the burgeoning field of biomedical engineering across Europe. In the years following Moreau's final withdrawal from public life, whispers of his experiment continued to circulate quietly among medical practitioners. The detailed surgical notes and personal journals he had meticulously compiled, though initially guarded by a close-knit circle of his colleagues, eventually found their way into the hands of eager minds determined to build upon his foundational work. These documents, rich with technical drawings, operational observations, and philosophical reflections, became treasured resources for those seeking to reconcile mechanics with human physiology. Inspired by Moreau's audacity and the tangible proof of concept his surgery provided, surgeons and inventors began to experiment with mechanical assist devices, albeit with more caution and incremental progress. Early attempts to create pumps and valves to support failing hearts or other organs echoed the principles Moreau had pioneered, albeit with differing designs and power sources more suited to the constraints of the human body. These efforts, scattered across the laboratories of Paris, London, and Vienna, laid the groundwork for what would centuries later become the artificial heart and circulatory support devices. Moreau's experiment also ignited the imaginations of mechanists and engineers who saw in his mechanical heart the possibility of extending human life through technological means. The Industrial Revolution, already reshaping society's relationship with machines, found a new frontier in the intimate integration of mechanics with the human body. This fusion, while still in its infancy, suggested a future where the vulnerabilities of flesh might be mitigated by the reliability of engineered devices. Amid these developments, a clandestine society of scientists and physicians emerged, united by a shared fascination with the potential of human-machine symbiosis. This secretive collective, operating largely beneath the radar of mainstream medical institutions, devoted itself to preserving Moreau's notes and advancing his vision. Their meetings, often held in discreet salons and private chambers, combined rigorous scientific inquiry with philosophical debate about the ethical and existential implications of their work. The Society's members pursued innovations ranging from improved mechanical pumps to early prosthetic limbs powered by clockwork mechanisms. They documented their findings meticulously, cautiously navigating the boundaries of acceptance within the medical establishment. While their work remained largely hidden from public view, its influence gradually permeated academic circles, sowing seeds for future breakthroughs. The fascination with Moreau's legacy also extended beyond the realm of science into the cultural imagination. His story became a touchstone for artists, writers, and thinkers, captivated by the tensions between human fragility and mechanical endurance. The mechanical heart emerged as a potent symbol of the era's anxieties and aspirations, a testament to humanity's desire to master mortality through invention, even as it grappled with the cost of such mastery. Concurrently, the practical challenges highlighted by Moreau's experience informed evolving medical, ethics, and surgical practices. Surgeons increasingly recognized the necessity of balancing innovation with patient welfare, leading to more stringent protocols for experimental procedures. The discourse surrounding artificial organs underscored the importance of interdisciplinary collaboration, integrating mechanics, physiology, and psychology to address the complexities of human augmentation. Moreau's influence also inspired early educational efforts aimed at training surgeons and engineers in the principles underlying mechanical assistance. Workshops and lectures, sometimes clandestine, disseminated knowledge about the design and implantation of mechanical devices, gradually professionalizing this emerging specialty. These initiatives contributed to a slow but steady accumulation of expertise that would, in time, revolutionize cardiac surgery and prosthetics. Despite the advances spurred by Moreau's pioneering work, the path remained fraught with obstacles. The inherent difficulties of biocompatibility, infection control, and mechanical reliability continued to challenge practitioners. Yet the persistent efforts of those inspired by Moreau's example signaled an enduring commitment to overcoming these barriers. Moreau's legacy also shaped public perceptions of medical technology. His story, part marvel, part cautionary tale, influenced the societal dialogue about the promises and perils of integrating machines within the human body. This dialogue framed ongoing debates about medical innovation's ethical boundaries and the definition of human identity in an age increasingly dominated by technology. As decades passed, the clandestine society that had safeguarded Moreau's work gradually revealed fragments of its research to the broader scientific community. These disclosures, though initially met with skepticism, gradually gained acceptance and stimulated further inquiry. The incremental progress achieved in artificial organs and mechanical assist devices owed a significant debt to Moreau's initial courage and the dedication of those who preserved and expanded upon his insights. In the broader sweep of medical history, Dr. Etienne Moreau's audacious experiment came to be recognized as a seminal moment, a bold, if flawed, step toward the fusion of biology and technology. His work foreshadowed the complex challenges and transformative possibilities that would define modern bioengineering and the quest to enhance human life through mechanical means. The influence of Moreau's mechanical heart extended beyond mere technical innovation. It shaped the contours of medical philosophy and ethics, compelling practitioners to reconsider the meaning of life, health, and identity in an era of rapid technological change. His experiment, once shrouded in controversy and mystery, became a foundational chapter in the evolving narrative of human enhancement. Thus, through the perseverance of inspired surgeons, inventors, and secretive societies, Moreau's vision endured. His mechanical heart, though born of desperation and fraught with peril, ignited a spark that would illuminate the path toward the artificial organs and biomedical devices that now stand at the forefront of medicine. His legacy is a testament to the indomitable human spirit, undaunted by the boundaries of nature and driven by the relentless pursuit of progress. In the decades that followed Dr. Etienne Moreau's disappearance from public life, his figure transcended the boundaries of medicine to enter the realm of legend, becoming a shadowy emblem woven into the fabric of Parisian folklore. Rumors and whispered tales told of a spectral man whose heartbeat was not his own, a mechanical cadence that echoed through the city's nocturnal streets. This figure, often described as the mechanical heart man, captivated the imaginations of witnesses and storytellers alike, blurring the lines between history and myth. Eyewitness accounts began to surface sporadically throughout the mid-19th century, describing encounters with a gaunt, pale man whose chest emitted faint but unmistakable mechanical sounds, a rhythmic clicking and humming that set him apart from the living. Observers spoke of his unnatural vitality. Despite an appearance marked by weariness and age, he moved with a deliberate steadiness that defied human frailty. These reports, though scattered and unverifiable, fueled speculation that Moreau's experiment had granted him a form of extended life, sustained by the very steam-powered pump that had once been the subject of medical controversy. One of the most notable accounts came from Father Lucien Dumas, a priest known for his reflective writings on mortality and the human soul. In a letter penned in 1854, Father Dumas described a chance encounter late one autumn evening near the banks of the Seine. He recounted seeing a solitary figure walking along the mist-shrouded quays, the faint mechanical rhythm of a heart audible beneath the man's worn coat. Struck by a mixture of curiosity and unease, Dumas approached the figure and engaged him in conversation. The man's responses were measured, his eyes reflecting a profound melancholy and a weariness born of unnatural longevity. Father Dumas' narrative delved into themes that resonated deeply with contemporary existential concerns. The tension between life's fleeting nature and the desire for transcendence, the interplay of flesh and machine, and the quest for meaning in a mechanizing world. His account, published posthumously in a collection of essays, contributed significantly to the growing aura of mystery surrounding Moreau's fate and the broader implications of his mechanical heart. Other eyewitnesses reported fleeting glimpses of the mechanical heart man in diverse Parisian locales, wandering the shadowed corridors of former hospitals, frequenting dimly lit cafes, or pausing contemplatively beneath gas lamps flickering against the night sky. These sightings often coincided with periods of scientific advancement or public debates about the integration of technology and the human body, lending an almost prophetic quality to the figure's appearances. The persistent presence of this enigmatic man inspired a complex mixture of fear, fascination, and reverence among the populace. For some, he embodied the promise of human ingenuity defying death itself. For others, he represented a cautionary specter, a reminder of the costs borne when humanity seeks to transcend its natural limits. The mechanical heartbeat that accompanied him was heard as both a symbol of life prolonged and a haunting echo of the unnatural. These legends fostered a cultural mythology that intertwined science, spirituality, and the Gothic sensibilities of the era. Writers and artists drew upon the figure of Moreau's mechanical heart as a motif exploring the boundaries of existence and identity. The mechanical heart man appeared in poems, paintings, and early theatrical productions, each iteration deepening the mystique and ethical questions surrounding the fusion of man and machine. The medical community, while largely dismissive of such tales as fanciful, could not entirely ignore their impact on public perception. The legend of the mechanical heart man shaped contemporary discourse on medical innovation, influencing how experimental procedures were communicated and regulated. Physicians became increasingly aware of the narrative power their work held, and the responsibility to address both scientific validity and societal fears. The continued fascination with Moreau's figure also prompted renewed interest in his original surgical notes and journals. Scholars and historians sought to separate fact from fiction, piecing together the fragments of his life and experiment amid the growing corpus of myth. This endeavor led to a deeper appreciation of the experiment's scientific significance and the human story beneath the mechanical heart. Beyond Paris, echoes of the legend spread to other European cities, inspiring similar tales of mechanical men and the blurring of human and machine. These stories reflected broader anxieties and hopes in an age rapidly transformed by industrialization, where the boundaries between organic life and mechanical innovation were increasingly questioned. The figure of Moreau's mechanical heart became a cultural touchstone, symbolizing the complex interplay between technological progress and the enduring mysteries of life and death. His story resonated in an era grappling with the promises and perils of modernity, embodying the tension between the aspiration for immortality and the acceptance of human finitude. As the 19th century progressed, the legend evolved, incorporating elements of spiritualism, early science fiction, and philosophical inquiry. The mechanical heart man was portrayed variously as a tragic hero, a cautionary figure, or a symbol of humanity's restless pursuit of transcendence. This multifaceted legacy underscored the profound impact of Moreau's experiment beyond its immediate medical context. In private salons and public forums alike, discussions about the mechanical heart man touched on questions of identity, consciousness, and the ethical limits of technological intervention. The legend served as a mirror, reflecting society's hopes and fears about the future of medicine and the integration of man and machine. Thus, the enduring presence of the mechanical heart man in the collective imagination ensured that Dr. Etienne Moreau's experiment remained alive, not only as a historical event, but as a living myth, inspiring reflection on the nature of life, the boundaries of human capability, and the consequences of daring to merge flesh with machinery. In the early decades of the 20th century, as medical science advanced at an unprecedented pace, renewed scholarly interest in Dr. Etienne Moreau's mechanical heart experiment emerged from the shadows of legend and rumor into the light of rigorous scientific inquiry. Researchers, cardiologists, and historians undertook a systematic re-examination of Moreau's surgical notes, journals, and the scant archival materials preserved by his contemporaries and the secretive societies that had safeguarded his legacy. This period marked a pivotal shift. Moreau's experiment was no longer dismissed as mere curiosity or myth, but was recognized as a foundational, if flawed, precursor to modern bioengineering and artificial organ development. The archival release of his detailed surgical records provided invaluable insights into the technical challenges and ingenuity that characterized his attempt to replace the human heart with a mechanical device. Cardiologists, in particular, found Moreau's work striking for its audacity and pioneering spirit. While acknowledging the limitations imposed by 19th-century technology and medical knowledge, such as the absence of antiseptic techniques and the rudimentary nature of his steam-powered pump, they credited Moreau with articulating principles that would guide future innovations. These included the importance of replicating the heart's rhythmic contractions, managing blood flow dynamics, and addressing the critical interface between mechanical components and living tissue. The Mechanical Heart Inquiry, a commission convened by a consortium of European medical institutions, undertook a comprehensive analysis of Moreau's experiment. Their findings underscored both the scientific merit and the ethical quandaries inherent in his work. The commission concluded that, despite its shortcomings and the tragic consequences Moreau endured, his surgery laid conceptual groundwork that anticipated the development of artificial hearts and circulatory assist devices in the 20th century. The inquiry's report also highlighted the innovative aspects of Moreau's interdisciplinary approach, which blended surgical skill, mechanical engineering, and philosophical reflection on the nature of life, a synthesis that prefigured contemporary bioengineering paradigms. This recognition elevated Moreau's status from a marginal figure to a visionary whose work embodied the nascent convergence of medicine and technology. Concurrently, the medical community grappled with the broader implications of Moreau's experiment. The inquiry reaffirmed the necessity of balancing scientific progress with ethical responsibility, emphasizing the importance of patient consent, risk assessment, and psychological support for recipients of mechanical implants. These principles would become cornerstones of modern medical ethics and clinical practice. Public interest in Moreau's story resurfaced alongside the scientific reassessment. Newspapers and journals published accounts that combined historical analysis with reflections on the progress achieved since his time. The narrative of the mechanical heart, once shrouded in mystery and myth, was reframed as a testament to human ingenuity and the relentless pursuit of life extension technologies. The inquiry's release catalyzed renewed academic and practical endeavors in artificial organ research. Engineers and physiologists drew inspiration from Moreau's work, adapting his concepts using contemporary materials and technologies such as electric motors and biocompatible polymers. These advances culminated in the mid-20th century with the successful implantation of mechanical heart valves and eventually fully artificial hearts. Moreau's legacy also influenced the philosophical discourse surrounding human identity and the integration of machines into the body. Scholars revisited his reflections on the nature of consciousness and the boundaries between man and machine, enriching debates that would resonate through the fields of bioethics, cognitive science, and transhumanism. The closure of the Mechanical Heart Inquiry Commission marked a symbolic affirmation of Moreau's place in medical history. It underscored the notion that pioneering experiments, even those fraught with risk and imperfection, are essential to the advancement of knowledge. Moreau's surgical courage and intellectual rigor were celebrated as exemplars of the scientific spirit, inspiring subsequent generations to venture boldly into uncharted territories. Institutional recognition followed, with medical schools incorporating studies of Moreau's experiment into curricula on surgical innovation and biomedical engineering. Conferences and symposia dedicated to the history of artificial organs often featured analyses of his work, situating it within the broader narrative of medical progress. Despite the passage of time and the evolution of technology, Moreau's mechanical heart experiment retained a unique poignancy. It symbolized the intersection of human aspiration and vulnerability, the tension between the desire to conquer mortality and the risks inherent in transgressing natural limits. His story became a touchstone for reflecting on the ethical dimensions of medical innovation, a reminder that progress demands humility and responsibility. The scientific reappraisal also rekindled interest in the enigmatic figure of the mechanical heart man, blending historical fact with enduring myth. Scholars sought to disentangle Moreau's documented experiences from the legends that had grown around him, appreciating the complex interplay between his tangible contributions and the cultural narratives they inspired. In sum, the 20th century revival of Moreau's experiment transformed it from a footnote of medical history into a seminal chapter that bridged past and future. It illuminated the path from steam-powered pumps to sophisticated bioartificial organs, highlighting the continuum of human ingenuity. Moreau's work stood as a testament to the courage required to challenge the boundaries of science and the enduring quest to enhance and preserve human life. Through archival research, clinical analysis, and philosophical inquiry, the legacy of Dr. Etienne Moreau was finally enshrined within the canon of medical innovation. His experiment, once a subject of controversy and speculation, was recognized as a foundational milestone that shaped the trajectory of modern medicine and bioengineering. In the contemporary era, the legacy of Dr. Etienne Moreau's mechanical heart experiment invites a complex tapestry of interpretations, some viewing him as a visionary pioneer ahead of his time, others as a tragic figure undone by the hubris of challenging nature's immutable laws. Modern scholars and medical ethicists revisit his story not only as a historical milestone, but as a profound meditation on identity, consciousness, and the evolving relationship between humanity and technology. Moreau's daring fusion of flesh and machine anticipated many debates now central to bioengineering and transhumanism. His endeavor raises enduring questions. What defines the self when a mechanical device assumes the role of a vital organ? Does the integration of man and machine alter consciousness, or is identity preserved beyond corporeal change? These inquiries resonate with current explorations into neural implants, prosthetics, and artificial intelligence, situating Moreau's experiment within a continuum of human enhancement. Philosophers examine Moreau's writings for early glimpses of the psychological and existential challenges posed by mechanization. His reflections on emotional detachment, altered sensations, and the blurring of human-machine boundaries prefigure contemporary concerns about the impact of technology on empathy, agency, and the essence of being. The struggle he faced to maintain his humanity amid mechanical integration embodies a universal tension that persists amid rapid technological advancement. Medical practitioners draw inspiration from Moreau's courage and ingenuity while acknowledging the tragic costs of his experiment. His experience underscores the imperative of rigorous ethical frameworks governing experimental procedures, emphasizing informed consent, psychological support, and long-term monitoring. The lessons learned from his journey inform modern protocols designed to balance innovation with patient well-being. Some theorists propose that Moreau's mechanical heart may have briefly extended his lifespan beyond natural limits, hinting at the tantalizing promise and peril of mechanical augmentation. While the technology of his era was rudimentary, the concept of replacing or supplementing failing organs with artificial devices has since blossomed into a cornerstone of life-saving medical interventions. Moreau's experiment thus stands as a symbolic inception point for humanity's quest to transcend biological constraints. Beyond the clinical and philosophical realms, Moreau's story permeates cultural and artistic discourses. His narrative continues to inspire literature, film, and visual art that explore the fusion of human and machine, grappling with themes of mortality, identity, and transformation. The mechanical heart serves as a potent metaphor for the dualities of progress and loss, vitality and alienation, creation and destruction. Contemporary bioethicists further debate the implications of Moreau's legacy in the context of emerging technologies such as gene editing, cybernetic implants, and artificial intelligence. His experiment prompts reflection on the boundaries of human enhancement. Where should society draw the line between therapeutic intervention and augmentation? How might mechanization affect concepts of personhood and rights? These questions, rooted in Moreau's pioneering act, remain at the forefront of ethical discourse. In the clinical domain, the impact of Moreau's work is tangible. Artificial hearts, ventricular assist devices, and bioengineered tissues now save countless lives, embodying the vision he pursued with limited means. His legacy is etched into the evolution of cardiology and surgery, reminding practitioners that innovation often arises from bold, sometimes perilous, leaps into the unknown. Moreau's narrative also serves as a cautionary tale about the psychological dimensions of medical innovation. The emotional blunting and social withdrawal he experienced highlight the need for holistic care that addresses not only physical health, but also mental and emotional well-being. Modern patient care increasingly recognizes this integrative approach, seeking to preserve the humanity of those who undergo transformative medical interventions. As society contemplates the future trajectory of human enhancement, Moreau's experiment remains a touchstone, a historical exemplar illustrating both the promise and the complexity of merging man with machine. His story challenges us to consider the ethical, philosophical, and humanistic dimensions of such integration, encouraging a measured and compassionate approach to technological progress. In reflecting upon Dr. Etienne Moreau's mechanical heart, we confront fundamental questions about what it means to be human in an age increasingly defined by the interplay of biology and technology. His courage in the face of mortality, his visionary melding of surgeon and mechanic, and his struggle to retain identity amid transformation invite ongoing dialogue about the limits of science and the resilience of the human spirit. Ultimately, Moreau's experiment is more than a historical curiosity. It is a living narrative that continues to influence contemporary medicine, ethics, and philosophy. It embodies the enduring human aspiration to overcome frailty and extend life, while reminding us of the profound responsibilities such power entails. His mechanical heart beats on in the collective consciousness, a symbol of innovation's triumphs and trials, urging us to navigate the future with wisdom, humility, and hope.